at Saint-Brisson-su-Loire, to the International Pastel exhibition here. Here is all my artwork. I'm specialising in trees. I enjoy the trees when they're devoid of their leaves, in spring or in autumn or in winter. And for me, trees, I enjoy the character of trees. I enjoy the shapes of the branches, and I enjoy the colours. This particular one is an autumn picture here. I enjoy the melange of green and browns, red browns. That's typical of the kind of composition that I enjoy. Plenty of interest. Mainly, I focus on plenty of interest in the sous-bois, and also in the trees and the small branches. I work on just normal paper. I don't know many other pastelists that work in that way. So I do a lot of layers, a lot of layering. So I start with a white piece of paper, which hasn't really got much tooth, and I build up gradually from there. So for instance here, I will use a coat of white on the background. I will do a light sketch in that, and I build the picture from the back to the front with many layers. So I will then rest. I might start a picture, I will then rest it and go back to it. So I tend to work in a series, and I enjoy kind of playing off one against the other.
Are these trees from the same area?
No, they're all from different areas. I enjoy here in France. I find a lot of the trees essentially the same. The oaks are the same character. Some of these could be they're English scenes, and there's a lot of character in the trees in England, as there are in France. And I think you'll find tree this sort of shape. You'll find it here in France as well as in England. This type of composition here, I've seen this many times here in France. As with all these.
You're focusing on trees and never leaves.
I enjoy the trees in summer. I have some prints for sale here. I've got a couple of books here, so you might, if anybody would look at those books, they're very rare that I paint summer pictures, because the character of the tree is lost with all the foliage I find.
You're doing a demo, David?
I'm just doing a demo here at Saint-Brisson-su-Loire. There's a few people about. I'm really quite excited about starting. I'm working on something quite different than I normally work on. I'm working on a Sennelier mixed media card, which is quite unusual because it will take water. Which I find quite interesting because I quite like working in mixed media. So here I've worked on, I've already pre-applied a quick wash, quite a spontaneous wash of watercolor aquarelle to enable me to start the picture with something on the paper. So I've killed the plain paper, the plain colour of the paper. It's quite a neutral paper, and I'm going to work with softer pastels than I normally work with. I'm going to work with Sennelier soft pastels, which are much softer than I normally work with. I normally work on smooth white paper such as this with no tooth. So I generally work with harder pastels, which give me a fine line. Here I'm going to work in a much more spontaneous style. So it's a bit experimental. I don't know how it's going to turn out. So here we go.
It means it's finished spontaneously.
Je crois que cet papier, c'est un nouveau papier de Sennelier. Sennelier Mixed Media. Card. Oui, c'est ça. Alors, j'ai fait une couche d'aquarelle. L'aquarelle ne bouge pas, n'abîme pas la surface.
Pastel adhère bien les...
Oui, bien sûr. Acrylique ou aquarelle ou encre. Oui. J'aime beaucoup. On commence avec quelque chose comme ça. Parce que juste quelques couches rapidement, beaucoup de couleurs pour commencer l'image. Quand tu fais aquarelle sur pastel card, c'est complètement abîme le surface.
Ah ouais, ok.
Alors c'est le mix media. J'ai fait une couche d'aquarelle. Et quand ça fait sèche, j'ai un mélange avec Sinali, un peu du pastel.
So how do you feel about the outcome? How do you feel about the outcome?
It's progressing. It's probably not what. Sometimes you have things in your mind that you want to it to come out like, but it's experimental. It's demonstration. There are people about watching you, so you try and focus on the job in hand. So for me, I'm just trying to get the right colours. For landscape, it's a question of it's always greens and browns, and having the right selection. And there's never the right green for me. You pick a green, and you apply it, and immediately it's the wrong green. So you try to have to modify it. But here I'm just trying something different. I'm being quite loose with my mark making. And I quite like areas like this where I've got a lot of colour and they're working really quite cohesively and not shouting out too much. And I'm starting to build on the bit of foreground here where the trees are actually planted, and there's a lot of shadow and a bit of depth here at the base of the trees. So I'm trying to get a bit of solidity here and to separate this portion of foreground away from the background.
Are you planning to finish it here or at home?
I probably won't finish it. The way I tend to work is I'll take it to a certain stage. I'll be unsure about what to do next, and I want to rest it. So at which time I will take one of the next ones that I have always. I like to, and I might like to go with something because it's. I like to work spontaneously. So for me, if something isn't working, if I feel it isn't working, I'll quickly put it away, and I'll try something else, and maybe that will work. That will give me something else. But certainly, I will go back to it. I probably won't finish it. I'll go back, and I won't overdo it. I shall leave the elements like this, which I love to leave, because at the end of the day, I'm not after photo. It's not a photograph. What I'm after is a painterly surface. It is a surface that's been made from material. In this case, aquarelle, watercolor, and pastel. Those two things working together, and I always like to see. And it's always layers. Painting is always layers. And what I like to see is I like to sometimes see the previous layer showing through, which creates interest on the surface. So, for instance, I quite like areas like this, which I'll probably leave where you can see the watercolor has just ended, and I'll probably just leave it like that.
How can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram. I post regularly on Instagram. Just Google my name, David Brammeld. I'm exhibiting next month. I'll be exhibiting at Yare, just south of Paris, with Pastel de France. Last month I was exhibiting at Saint-Brisson in the Dordogne area. So we tend to kind of move around all over France. I enjoy exhibiting with the other pastelists and showing my work at exhibitions such as this.
Thank you.